Alimony ripoff, but there are still a lot of questions you'll see later on in this hour.
Those stories, Norman Mark's picks for the 5 worst movies of 1986, and John Coleman's gray weather forecast right now on the Channel 5 News at 4:30.
Live on Channel 5. This is the 4:30 News with Ron Majors and the Channel 5 News team. John Coleman with weather and Warner Saunders with sports. The Channel 5 News at 4:30.
Good evening. Ron Majors is off this evening and Art Norman joins us. 3 people remain hospitalized at this hour after a Greyhound bus flipped over on an interstate highway near Gary. The bus was heading into Chicago from Indianapolis when it turned over in bad weather on I-65 near the Gary-Hobart city line. Channel 5's Ray Suarez has more on just what happened.
Snow fell on Interstate 65 through much of the day, making the highway increasingly slick and reducing visibility. The passenger sitting in the front seat of this bus when it went over on Route 65 said the snow had begun to fall quite heavily. The road was getting very slippery when a passenger car made a too abrupt pass into the front of the bus's lane.
There was a car sitting crossway on the highway, and there was one in the median, and the bus driver was trying to go around, keep from hitting the one broadside, and the bus just started sliding sideways, and it just rolled on over.
11 injured people were brought to the emergency room at the nearby Methodist Hospital in Merrillville, mostly with minor injuries.
These 11 people were chiefly what's called bumps and bruises, and the injuries were basically either the back or shoulder or both.
While the injured were treated, those unhurt or refusing treatment were transferred to a fresh Greyhound to continue their trip to Chicago. But before they could head for the loop, their battered original bus had its luggage offloaded. Due in at 12:05, this run was already 2 hours late when it left Lake Station and still had a long way to go. The injured were treated and released, all but 2 who needed extra observation. Ray Suarez, Channel 5 News.
At the time of the accident, 27 people were on board that bus, and originally 13 people were taken to area hospitals. Police are trying to determine why an immigrant worker was beaten to death on the Gold Coast. The murder took place in a neighborhood of vintage homes on ASTOR Street on the near north side. The body of 28-year-old Thomas Corrigan was found this morning by co-workers in the basement of a home that was being rehabilitated. Police say Corrigan had been sleeping in the building, that he had no permanent address. Co-workers last saw him on Christmas Eve, and police say they're unsure when he died.
He's been in the United States for about 3 years. Apparently he's from Maryland. He's been working for this construction company for a period of about 2 years, and the situation is this. He's like an on-job overseer.
Police say they haven't found a murder weapon, but they believe Corrigan was hit on the head with a heavy object.
It's hard to understand why someone would want to steal the nativity scene in the midst of the Christmas season, but that's exactly what happened at a church on the northwest side. Channel 5's Rick Sallinger reports 2 suspects are right now in custody.
The St. Stanislaus nativity scene was taken down early this year. What was left was being put away. There will be no more thefts here. This comes after police caught 2 men as they were putting a 5-foot statue of Joseph in the back of their auto. The back seat of the suspect's car had straw in it, leading police to believe they may have also taken the statues of baby Jesus, the Virgin Mary, and 2 sheep. This Northwest Side Catholic Church is located in a mostly Polish neighborhood that has been changing. But parishioners never thought religious articles would be stolen.
I think it's rotten. It's downright rotten. And you got to do that, well, it's got to be goofy.
I don't think that's a very nice thing for anybody to do, whether it's boys or whatever. But it's bad. It's sad. Holiday time.
In court, 22-year-old Manuel Wood and 20-year-old Michael Turnier were told they were charged with felony theft. Turnier's mother apologized for her son's alleged actions.
Yes, I would like to apologize on his behalf. I felt that it's wrong. I'm sure he knows that it is wrong.
Police say Turnier admitted taking part in the theft. He wouldn't tell us why.
Why'd you steal the nativity scenes then?
The suspects told police it was a college prank, but the 2 charged don't attend college. At the church, there's a sign that reads, "Thou shalt not bark." No one ever thought they'd need one that reads, "Thou shalt not steal." Rick Sallinger, Channel 5 News.
Tonya and Wood are being held in the Cook County Jail. They'll appear in felony court on January 6th.
The future of Chicago's lakefront seems to be shaping up as a major issue in the city's mayoral campaign. Candidates are taking sides on the city's plan to help build a lakefront football stadium for the Bears in the parking lot just south of Soldier Field. Mayor hopeful Thomas Hines has called the plan a land grab. Mayor Washington today said Hines was simply dealing in hyperbole. There may be more charges in the works along the lakefront. Channel 5's aviation reporter Jim Tillman is just back from Meigs Field, where the city is seeking funds for a new expansion plan study, correct?
Well, they don't like for you to put it quite that way, okay, Carol. The fact is, they do have some plans, though. Chicago's lakefront airport, Meigs Field, is considered to be the busiest single-runway airport in the world, and it could become even busier. Channel 5 News has learned that new proposals for that airport could make a dramatic change in its role as a close-in city airport. This much we know. The FAA has received this request from the City of Chicago and the State of Illinois for funds to study and create a new master plan for Meigs Airport. Chicago's O'Hare Airport provides point-to-point aviation service from around this country and the world. And because of its unique geographical location and facilities, it has become a major hub airport for connecting air traffic. Midway Airport is largely an airport that serves point-to-point service between domestic airports. Both of these major airports require a fair amount of ground transportation for most passengers, transportation that is subject to long tie-ups and delays. Meigs sits in the most strategic location of all. It is no more than a few minutes from the Loop and major expressways. It's just a few hundred feet from McCormick Place Convention Center and quite near the Bears' home at Soldier Field. And this is what it could mean. An instrument landing system would allow the use of the airport in most weather. This idea is part of the proposed study. If the runway was extended a few hundred feet, commercial aircraft from all over the nation could utilize the airport. City officials claim that such an extension is not presently in the plans, but the idea is exciting.
Of course it's exciting, and the future will tell us. I mean, but to make some comment on speculation, to speculate that that is a possibility, no matter how exciting it might be in Chicago, would be irresponsible at this point.
City officials are very, very quick, and as well as state and federal officials, to point out that nothing significant will happen to change Meigs Field until the studies are complete, environmental impact considerations are met, and land acquisition plans are agreed to. But you can certainly be certain that a lot of citizens interested in Chicago's lakefront will be heard loud and clear before any ground is broken. And of course, even the alderman, the First Ward, Alderman Rohde, told me today that he hasn't heard one word about this.
When the World's Fair project was being discussed, and that whole area was considered a pivotal point of expansion, there was serious opposition saying you can't monkey around with the lakefront any more than you already have, correct?
Yes, but there were arguments from both sides. The FAA and the state of Illinois said you can't monkey around with Meigs Field. It's got to stay there. It's a very important airport to this area. And the other side said, we don't want you doing anything to alter the beauty of our lakefront in Chicago. So it's going to be a fight unless it can be sold, let us say, in a very comfortable way.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Thanks, Jim.
One of the most ambitious airlines of the 1980s has agreed to a merger this evening. People's Express shareholders have voted to sell the airline to Texas Air for $115 million. People's Express launched the first, if we recall, round of airfare wars in the 1980s. But other airlines lowered their fares to compete, making People's Express a money loser.
To continue this aviation theme, two aviation winners today met with the president for a special recognition. We're going to have that story when we return.
And later we'll begin a special series of reports, the stories of families bouncing back from the problems of drug and alcohol abuse.
And now as the Redskins have won the right to be the Bears' first playoff opponent, we'll go live to the Bears' practice site in Suwanee, Georgia. That's later on in sports. Stay with us.
It's the man from Nissan. He's here in Chicagoland for our inventory clearance sale. We're selling Pulsars, Pathfinders, Sentras, Stanzas, Z-Cars, Maximas, and trucks. Did I say trucks? Hard bodies with financing as low as 3.9% or cash back up to $800. But the best thing about our inventory clearance are the deals right now at your Chicagoland Nissan dealer. Can we give you a deal?
We're your Nissan men. Yes, we can. Yes.
She's leaving me little by little. Does she still know I care? She's further away, getting further away, and yet she's always there.
Our Alzheimer's disease takes a lot of time and lives, but the Alzheimer's Disease and Related Disorders Association can help.
It's a long goodbye.
For more information, call your chapter or 1-800-621-0379.
Heart disease, virtually unknown among the Eskimos of Greenland. Why? Studies revealed oily fish in their diet helped reduce buildup of fatty deposits in their arteries. If you're not eating enough of these fish, you can now get the highest natural concentration of their oils in new Promega from Park Davis. Add Promega to your dietary plan that reduces total fats and substitutes polyunsaturates and help reduce your risk of heart disease.
Why you should buy your new Jeep Cherokee, Wagoneer, or Grand Wagoneer now. Winter. Nothing handles it better than a four-wheel drive Jeep. Sales tax. Buy this month, and individuals who itemize can still deduct 100% sales tax. Depreciation. Buy for business this month, and you can still get 3-year accelerated depreciation, not to mention a vehicle that's roomy, luxurious, and dependable. See your Chicagoland, Northern Indiana Jeep Renault dealers before the year's end.
Families of 4 of the Challenger astronauts will each receive at least $750,000 in damages. That's the result of an out-of-court settlement today with the U.S. Justice Department. Morton Thiokol, manufacturers of the shuttle's solid rocket boosters, will contribute to the payments. Challenger blew up after takeoff last January. 7 astronauts died in the explosion. Well, more honors today for the crew and designer of the experimental aircraft Voyager. It was a week ago tomorrow that Voyager set a record around the world, non-stop on 1 tank of fuel. In California today, President Reagan handed out medals to Richard and Bert Rutan and Gina Yeager.
Continue the pace. We would have to stop some experiments that are now underway if we aren't able to get this. And
you may have noticed that that was distinctly not President Reagan. That was Mr. Weinberger. The president, however, did take time from his California vacation. We promise you to present those medals.
And the person we just saw was the President's Defense Secretary, Caspar Weinberger. He is urging Congress to add another $2.8 billion to the Pentagon's current budget. That includes $110 million to study new, more powerful rockets for the Star Wars program.
Vital that we have those amounts so that we can continue the pace. We would have to stop some experiments that are now underway if we aren't able to get this. And things involving the kinetic kill vehicle technology, the rocket motors for that, some of the systems architectures and engineering.
Part of that money may have to be used to clean up the Pentagon, either to paint or blood was apparently splashed on the building today by a group of peace demonstrators. About 60 people were protesting the Iran-Contra scandal. 13 of the protesters were arrested, including Philip Berrigan, a former Roman Catholic priest and longtime peace activist. The demonstrators called on military and civilian workers at the Pentagon to quit their jobs as an act of peace.
In Vieja, Spain today, a bomb went off in the hotel where King Juan Carlos and his wife are vacationing. The blast was in the hallway about 500 yards from the king's suite. A Basque separatist group claims responsibility for the explosion. No one was injured. And apparently the king and his family were not extremely concerned. They went skiing right after the explosion. 55 Soviet emigres, Soviet-born men and women who came to the United States to find a better life, are emigrating again, this time back to the Soviet Union. They're in Moscow, saying their life in America had disillusioned them. Too much concern, they said, for making money, too much crime, too much drug addiction. About 35,000 Soviet citizens have moved to the United States since 1981. Moscow says at least 1,000 of them want to return home.
Still ahead on the Channel 5 News, we'll show you signs that the CTA is trying to make the New Year's Eve a safe one for late-night partygoers.
Meanwhile, alcohol and drugs are a year-round nightmare for some families. After a break, you'll meet some people facing the problem head-on. Stay tuned.
Only Jacobs Twin Buick, the Midwest's largest Buick dealer, can buy you a year-end clearance sale like this. Jacobs Twin Buick has over 500 Buicks on the ground. And now through December 31st, you get your choice of Buick models for only $49 over invoice. All cars will be clearly marked, so no negotiating will be necessary. Simply pick your model, and $49 over invoice is all you pay. Shop the Midwest's largest Buick dealer, Jacobs Twin Buick, 6750 Grand Avenue in Chicago. Jacobs Twin Buick.
What happens to alcoholics when they get treatment? Well, feelings return. Good feelings. Then the recovering alcoholic starts laughing and loving and living again. Hope and love replace anger and fear. Families grow together, children learn to trust again, and life sure gets better. It happens with professional help.
They can help even those who don't want help. Call the Alcoholism Treatment Center at Central DuPage Hospital, 653-4000.
Kids get their toys at Christmas. Adults have to wait until Highland's year-end markdown sale.
Hey, it's 4 in the morning. Highland doesn't open for hours.
It's a wondrous time for good little grown-ups.
They didn't sleep a wink all night.
Those 6 days after Christmas, when Highland marks down everything to the lowest prices of the year.
There it is.
Wow.
You'll save up to 50% in every department.
Neat. Oh.
Like this sharp digital cassette car stereo with free normal installation, just $97.
Go ahead. You've been a good dad all year.
And this tap and microwave oven with automatic timer, only $84. Save $55.
Think the gods they wanted? Just look at their faces.
Highland's year-end markdown sale, now through December 31st.
Good thing this only comes once a year. I'll say.
The problem of drug and alcohol abuse is the focus of Channel 5 station Project. It's a family affair, and as part of that project, Art Norman tonight begins a special 3-part series. Art?
Carol, we're all too familiar with the horror stories of drug and alcohol abuse, but over the next 3 evenings, we'll be meeting families on their way to writing happy endings to those kinds of stories. We begin with a family pushed to the brink by alcohol. For family members, the road back was indeed a family affair.
That's what I wanted.
That's what you wanted.
Christmas was especially good for this Humboldt Park family.
Thank you.
The most important gift for the Escobars was not wrapped in paper under the tree. The true joy of the holiday was having the head of this family freed of a chemical dependency.
I didn't know him at all. He was a stranger. I thought, my God, does this happen to people like us? Does this happen to everybody? And I thought, well, we're just all alone out there. And I just made up my mind. I said, I've got to try and do something. There has to be help. Well, I feel good now.
30-year-old Joaquin Escobar is back. But 1 year ago, this was Joaquin. His addiction, alcohol.
He was violent. He was out of character completely. At one point, he tried to throw me over a banister in my front porch, which has about a 10-foot drop. At that point, my son came up from behind him and hit him over the head with a broom to trying to back him off because he's yelling, my mama, my mama. And at that point, the terror in my heart was for my son. Because I said, my husband can't feel what's going on, but my son does.
My family needs my help, too. And now, I need help, too. More help.
The Escobars' formula for success was an intensive rehabilitation program where Joaquin and Paula spent 5 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Antes estaba enfermando mucho. Y también las esposas, tienen un buen programa aquí.
Joaquin is among the 76% of the patients here at Hispano Alcoholic Services who succeeded and beat the bottle.
You're happy now, aren't you? Yeah. Me siento de lo más feliz como nunca me había yo sentido.
He feels more happy than he's ever felt in his life.
Yeah.
I'm proud for him. I think he's proud of himself, and that's the best thing.
It's been a year since this father of 3 has had a drink. His wife is expecting another child in April, and the future looks very bright as alcohol loses its hold on the Escobars.
We got our dignity back. We were losing it, and now we have it back again.
Joaquin Escobar says he plans to work as a volunteer to help other recovering alcoholics. Tomorrow at 4:30, you'll meet a young woman looking to her mother and the group Lifeline as she tries to beat a cocaine addiction. It's tomorrow.
It's ironic, as we were talking, that when you've somehow conquered alcoholism, normal family problems don't seem as huge, and they have their normal family problems.
As a matter of fact, he's unemployed, and he is looking for a job, and this is something that he really wants. He wants normal family problems. He didn't have that before.
Interesting perspective. Thanks, Art. John Coleman is coming up, and the question coming up is, are we going to get more snow?
Well, just some flurries, Carol. Folks, this is not a big snow, but it is a little icy here and there around the Chicago area. We'll have the full forecast and the outlook going right into next year. Stay with us. We'll be back.
This week at Dominic's, the savings are purely American on domestic sliced boiled ham, perfect for an appetizer plate. In our deli, just $1.98 a pound. Enjoy a mountain of savings on Hills Brothers coffee, electric, regular, and automatic drip. A 2-pound can, just $4.99 at Dominic's. And get spicy savings on easy-to-bake Tombstone pizza. Choose cheese, pepperoni, or cheese and sausage, just $2.99 each. Happy New Year from Dominic's.
The IRS. For years, Americans have looked upon it with dread. But your Chicago and Pontiac dealers have changed that. This is your last chance to save hundreds by deducting your sales tax. Plus, Pontiac has announced air conditioning worth up to $775 at no extra charge on Sunbird, 6000, Fiero, and Firebird. But only till December 31st. So hurry. Behind the stone facade of the IRS, there is good. But it took your Chicagoland, Northwestern, Indiana Pontiac dealers to find it.
Sponsored by Pizza Hut.
Super Bowl 20, 1986. The Bears defense contributes the most valuable player, Richard Dent. The big end seems to be everywhere. But the rest of the Bears defense is doing the job too. Chicago 46, New England 10. No wonder the Patriots are down. And Dent is up, celebrating his winning moment.
On the first day after Christmas, my true love gave to me leftover turkey. On the second day after Christmas, my true love gave to me turkey casserole that she made from leftover turkey. On the third
If the holidays are lingering longer than you expected, we have a suggestion. A pan pizza from Pizza Hut with pepperoni, mushrooms, almost any topping except one.
Flaming turkey wings. Fa-la-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la-la.
There's a saying down south, if you're going to heaven, you have to change planes in Atlanta. Well, that's not changing going on at Atlanta Airport today. For the second straight day in a row, dense fog shutting down Hartsville Airport for hours at a time. And as a result, O'Hare will feel the pressure. A lot of airports get backed up as a result of the problems in Atlanta. Look at that fog.
Meanwhile, here in Chicago this morning, you could hear a little ping-ping of sleet hitting the windows.
Oh, and Carol, there were snowflakes as big as saucers.
There were?
I saw a lady at the bus stop up on Clark Street. Had her tongue out trying to catch it. It was cute. And she did. And I don't know how that big snowflake tasted, but here's how they looked when they got on the cars. This is the messier part of snow and on the sidewalks. But do you know at O'Hare Field, this only went down as a trace of snow for December 1986. Our snowfall official total so far in Chicago is 0.4 tenths of an inch. 4 tenths, that's it. That's all, folks. But it was kind of pretty to see the ground white for one of the few times this winter, and it was a little slick. Sorry for any troubles. Now, there's a little bit of drizzle falling now, and it spots the temperatures below freezing, so it's getting a little icy. What's the chance that we'll have snow on the ground or snow in the air on New Year's Eve? Well, we looked at the 29-year statistics, and 62% of our New Year's Eves are snowy in Chicago, 10% are rainy over those last 29 years, and 28% of the time there's no precipitation, and usually there's snow on the ground on New Year's Day. Well, be careful this evening. There will be some little icy spots. More people slip and fall while walking than slip in cars and have accidents. Low 28 today, high 32. That was the average reading at 4 o'clock with humidity at 96%. Breeze very light, southwest at 3, and drizzle is now falling. So with the temperature at freezing and a little drizzle, the icy spots are forming. Temperatures range from 33 at DuPage County Airport and 31 at Crystal Lake and in the Loop and at Midway Airport, up to 33 O'Hare Field and Gary. The lake water temperature continues at 34 degrees. Tomorrow, 2 to 4 foot waves are predicted on the open lake. Air quality today is good throughout the metropolitan area. So, this evening, be expecting a little mixture of light drizzle changing to flurries with some icy spots. So just drive a little carefully, walk a little carefully. You could wear your golf cleats when you go out this evening. Give you good traction. Of course, it might make a mess of the of your garden or whatever where you go walking. You wouldn't walk in the garden anyway. Never mind. The night the flurries will end. But the fog won't. Dense fog will hold in Chicago through tomorrow morning, and air travel here could be slightly hampered tomorrow. But you can see in the satellite view that this is a weak storm pattern with just blotchy white clouds. The official snow reports at this hour come from the Milwaukee area and up to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, northward to upper Michigan and along the western shore of the lake in lower Michigan, down to Indianapolis and over to Peoria. But those are reports of just little flurries and light snow. There is no significant snowfall from this so-called storm, and it's a tiny little storm. Madison, Wisconsin's 1 inch is the greatest amount we've seen. 1 inch. And this is a late December snow. Not a big deal. And look at the radar. Almost nothing showing. But as this goes to the East Coast, it could turn into a significant snowstorm for New York City and Boston tomorrow. We're watching that carefully. And if business or personal pleasure is taking you to the East Coast tomorrow, caution, this could be a bad day there. Meanwhile, we're watching this come into the west. That will be our New Year's Eve snow in Chicago this year. It'll just be flurries, not a big storm. Go ahead with your plans. Look at this. Aspen above freezing at 3 o'clock this afternoon. 36 with clear skies. They're skiing on rocks. 26 at Minot, 31 at Marquette, and 29 at Holton are the colder readings. With Yuma, Arizona, sunny and 70, ideal weather. Tomorrow, I'm predicting, we'll be in the 30s. The 20s will be around Lake Superior. The 40s will cover a good part of Missouri. Where's the big Arctic cold snap this year? The cold air is still building over the Northwest Territory, but I don't think it'll get here until late in the week, and when it comes in, just a puff. Our expectation is we're going to get another big rain in Florida and the southeast. That should wash away the fog there. That will be tomorrow night. Tuesday, that's tomorrow. I'm predicting icy spots early in the day in the Chicago area. Please use caution. A foggy morning as well, which could slow down air travel. Some sun tomorrow afternoon. Low 28, high 33. Northwest winds by tomorrow as the cold front comes through. And then New Year's Eve day, sunny early, but flurries by New Year's Eve. Could be a little slick in spots, but on the other hand, no big New Year's Eve snowstorm this year. You can go right ahead with your plans to go out and go to the party. Just be reasonable. I mean, people are a lot bigger problem than weather on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean, Carol and Art?
I do indeed. We're going to get it, you know. I mean, we've been too lucky, and we get to this point every winter. We're going to get it real soon.
Carol, you said that all last winter. Nothing ever happened.
I know, but see, and that means it's going to be worse this year. Thank you, John. Raise a glass to Chicago's water. A Consumer Reports survey of 6 municipal water supplies and 50 bottled water companies shows that what comes out of your tap is pretty good, better than some of the bottled brands. In the city's competition, New York and Los Angeles had the top water, as good as the very best bottled water. San Francisco and New Orleans tied for the next run on the ladder, though that looks like Houston. Am I getting confused here? Yeah, it's all there in some order or another. Anyway, Chicago's water is described as good. Only Houston got crummy marks for its water. It said it smelled bad and tasted of chlorine. Ooh. Coming up next on the Channel 5 News, the story of the crippling aftermath of a weekend robbery on the city's north side.
And entertainment reporter Norman Mark will have his list of the 5 worst movies of the year.
And we'll tell you about DJ Tom Joyner's newest job, in addition to his current job, the broadcasting daily in Chicago and Dallas. Stay with us.
When you buy a car, what's more important? Largest selections, lowest prices, lowest financing rates, best service? Do you want to buy or lease? Or would you prefer to rent from only $19.88 a day?
Whatever you want, whatever you need. New cars or used. Leasing, rentals, award-winning service. See O'Connor first.
Our new cars are as low as $59.88.
If anyone can, O'Connor can.
O'Connor Ford, 2600 West 95th.
As Dolly Parton and Linda Carter reveal their diets for losing holiday fat. Slim down with the right plan for you. Then shape up with fitness expert Kathy Smith. To a crisis on Cheers as Shelley Long says she's quitting. Find out what may happen to Sam and Diane. Read how L.A. Law's Susan Day has found a new love and battled back from anorexia and divorce. Plus, it's your horoscope for the new year.
Today at Bay Furniture, your new home furnishings won't cost you a thing till spring. With your good credit, pay not a penny down, not a penny in interest, and not a penny in payments on anything over $200 till April 1987. Pay not a thing till spring for top-quality living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, even recliners and accessories. New furniture in your home now, and pay not a penny till April. That's after the Christmas bills are paid, your checkbook's balanced, and the Cubs are warming up for another season. You don't pay a thing till spring, only at Bay Furniture in Homewood and Hoffman Estates.
Your Chicagoland Volvo experts present answers to some taxing questions, or no taxation without Volvo representation.
Listen, my taxpayers, and you shall hear of your last chance for tax breaks if you buy your Volvo this year.
For those of you who itemize, sales tax you can deduct. For business, a faster depreciation rate. Your accountant you shall instruct. Buy your Volvo now, and you needn't wait so long to get the actual benefits these tax breaks bring along.
See your Chicagoland Volvo experts before the year's end.
The Channel 5 News Review of 1986, New Year's Eve at 9:30.
Chicago police tonight say they have broken up a robbery gang with the arrest of 3 suspects, but only after a North Side robbery yesterday that left the manager of an ice cream parlor shot in the back. Channel 5's Isabel DURON reports that John Gianolis may never walk again.
The popular ice cream parlor will never seem quite the same to neighborhood watchdog Victoria Hamus, at least not without John Gianolis at the helm. She remembers the ZEPHYR night manager is always there for her, supportive of the Uprave Neighborhood Association, offering the use of a meeting room, always keeping coffee cups full, being there for the local church.
He was the kind of a person that everybody needs to make something successful. He's a person that saw that things worked.
Now the Ravenswood neighborhood wants to be there for Gianolis, helping him with the expenses mounting up from his injury. John Gianolis worked at the ZEPHYR for 4 years and just 2 months ago took on the duties of night manager, duties that eventually got him shot. The 48-year-old Gianolis was in his small back office when robbers burst into ZEPHYR minutes after closing. Police say while other employees were hustled into the men's room and robbed, a woman accosted Gianolis, took his night receipts, about $1,500, then shot him in the back.
He's a very passive man, and he certainly would not resist anything like this. We all understand that money's not that important.
So far, 3 people have been arrested in what police are calling a robbery gang. They include 22-year-old TONYA Woods, who was charged with Gianolis' shooting. Woods and 30-year-old Ray Collins were charged with the ZEPHYR holdup, as well as 3 other robberies, one involving the Indian Trail restaurant in Winnetka, November 27th. A third gang suspect, 24-year-old Kenneth Gaston, was arrested yesterday. He's charged in one of the other robberies.
They took the money that was on top of the desk. They wanted to know if there was more money inside the safe, and I said yes. They took that, and then the woman who shot me, she said, I put a bullet in his ass to make sure he's telling the truth. And that's what she shot me in the back.
Isabel DURON, Channel 5 News.
Police say they're looking for a 4th person involved in the ice cream parlor incident.
A setback tonight for 7-month-old Megan LaRocco. Doctors at Weiler's Children's Hospital have begun searching for a 4th liver for the baby. Megan is reportedly having breathing problems and has developed high blood pressure and kidney problems as well. The baby has received 3 livers since November 13th. Her condition was downgraded today to critical and unstable.
With as many as 600 Americans expected to lose their lives in New Year's traffic accidents, many of them involving alcohol, Mayor Washington today urged Chicagoans to leave the car at home and ride the CTA on New Year's Eve. Courtesy of the Chicago Transit Board and the Illinois Restaurant Association, all rides on CTA buses and trains are free.
Programs like the one we're kicking off today have a dual function. They not only provide people with safe means of transportation, they also help to pound home the theme that drinking and driving endangers our own life and the lives of others.
The free service will be in effect from 8 p.m. Wednesday through 6 a.m. on Thursday, New Year's Day.
Today is the 4th day of Hanukkah, the Jewish Festival of Lights. At this hour at the Daily Plaza, an 18-foot tall menorah was just lit few minutes ago, recalling how a sacred lamp with oil enough for only 1 day burned for 8 continuous days. Lighting the menorah tonight are 46th Ward Alderman Jerome Orbach and Rabbi Daniel Moskowitz. This is the 4th year the giant menorah is at the Daily Plaza. It is paid for with private donations. For Black Americans, the 7-day holiday season of Kwanzaa continues tonight. At the Daily Center today, visitors got a sample of the festivities of the holiday. The concept of Kwanzaa comes from the African celebration of a successful harvest season. The celebration of Kwanzaa began in this country in the late 60s. Still to come on the Channel 5 News, the folks up north will see what them bears are doing down in Swanee a bit later on.
And we'll tell you what happened to a fistful of alimony checks when we return.
This week at Dominic's, save on a refreshing tropical drink, Tropicana Orange Juice from Concentrator Homestyle. A 64-ounce carton, just $1.09. Feel like a king and save on Imperial Margarine. It's incredibly spreadable. 2 one-pound packages in quarters, just 89 cents at Dominic's. And drink a glass of sunshine with Tropicana Frozen Orange Juice from Concentrate or Homestyle. Get a 12-ounce can for just 69 cents. Happy New Year from Dominic's.
The Ford dealers have had a great year, but we're not through yet. We're counting down these final days with some of our best deals of the year. Get 3.9% financing or $300 cash back on the best-selling car in the world, Ford Escort. Then save up to $660 more with a special factory option package that includes a free automatic transmission on selected models. Tremendous year-end savings on a wide selection of the best-built American cars and trucks. See the quality people with the quality products. Your local Ford dealer. But hurry, only 2 days left to write off your sales tax.
As firefighters, we're committed to helping save lives. As parents, we hate to think what it would be like to lose a child in a fire. Give your family a chance to survive. Install a smoke detector and have a home fire escape plan. Join our fire safety team. Learn not to burn.
We've slashed prices up to 70% off on over 1,000 fashion furs during our sensational 4-day-only winter clearance sale at JCPenney Woodfield Mall.
A single-engine airplane has crashed at Pewaukee Airport in Chicago's northwest suburbs. However, the Wheeling Fire Department is saying none of the people on board the plane was seriously injured. Federal Aviation Administration reported the crash just a few minutes ago. It is not known what type of plane went down.
A missing woman may not be missing after all. Chicago police at this hour are trying to confirm a report that a missing bartender is missing of her own accord. Police say a woman identifying herself as a friend of Catherine Pardo, who has been missing for 11 days, called them to say that she spoke with Pardo over the weekend. Police are still checking into that call.
Cook County Sheriff's Police are trying to find who is responsible for thousands of dollars worth of stolen checks taken from the county court system. Channel 5's Adlai Stevenson reports on the investigation.
So far, 170 checks worth $22,000 have been recovered. They include repayment for bonds, child support, and alimony. The total number that were stolen and their value is still unknown. They were obtained from this man, 27-year-old Jeffrey Clark. On parole for armed robbery, he is now back in jail after allegedly trying to sell the stolen checks to undercover police officers.
A joint investigation, which was an undercover investigation that culminated in the arrest by undercover officers in the 7400 block of Roosevelt Road on Christmas Eve, December 24th.
He tried to sell some checks to one of your officers.
That's correct.
The question now facing investigators, how did the checks end up on the black market? They are from the office of Cook County Circuit Court Clerk Morgan Finley. Checks written on the county's account for routine court business. Sources in Finley's office say that checks were taken by outsiders, perhaps in the mail. Police say they are investigating every possibility, and that the clerk's office is conducting an internal investigation.
Is it a possibility that somebody inside the clerk's office took those checks?
We're exploring all possibilities of involvement in this particular investigation.
The missing checks brings up the possibility that there is something wrong with the way they are handled at the clerk's office. However, a spokesman for that office said there will be no changes in procedure until the leak is identified. He called the theft an isolated incident that will not be repeated. Adlai Stevenson, Channel 5 News.
Thus far, Clark is not telling investigators where the checks came from or who else might be involved.
A Southside Chicago girl is crossing her fingers tonight and hoping that her song, Too Fast, becomes a hit. Jacqueline Merrick, who won the state-sponsored Parents Too Soon Rock and Romance Songwriting Contest, today she recorded the lyrics, a message about the consequences of teen sexuality. Nice beat. Jacqueline is 16 and attends Maria High School.
Anybody and everybody seems to be putting together the 10 best movie list these days, but not our Norman Mark. When we return, he'll remind you of some of the worst films of 1986.
If you gotta go because your next meeting's at 3, you better have it.
Champion Battery. If you gotta go because your plane's leaving, you better have it. Champion Battery. If you gotta go because the stork's arriving, you better have it. Champion. 675 cold cranking amps. Pound for pound, the most powerful battery you can buy. Guaranteed to start your car. Champion. You better have it.
Available at Montgomery Wards.
Here's what Chicago is saying about WCLR 102 FM.
They've really improved the music on WCLR.
It's better than ever. Now they're playing light rock.
Light rock. Light rock.
What does WCLR mean when they say light rock?
More variety. Playing my favorites from yesterday and today. Phil Collins, Lionel Richie, Diana Ross. Light rock.
Variety. And not too hard or too soft. Light rock. Chicago's light rock. WCLR 102 FM.
In 1859, Isaac Cook created a great American champagne to launch the great American clipper ships. Today, Americans are still launching celebrations with Cook's Imperial American Champagne. When your ship comes in, celebrate with Cook's Imperial American Champagne.
The Ford dealers have had a great year, but we're not through yet. We're counting down these final days with some of our best deals of the year. Get 3.9% financing or $300 cash back on the best-selling car in the world, Ford Escort. Then save up to $660 more with a special factory option package. That includes a free automatic transmission on selected models. Tremendous year-end savings on a wide selection of the best-built American cars and trucks. See the quality people with the quality products. Your local Ford dealer. But hurry, only 2 days left to write off your sales tax.
ETA Creative Arts Foundation in Chicago presents the comedy Deadwood Dick, showing now through January 31st. For details, call 752-3955.
In our haste to honor the best of the year, let's not let the worst escape without some final thoughts. Channel 5's arts and entertainment reporter Norman Mark is ready with a look at some of the worst films of the year.
And believe me, these were not easy to come up with. The list was long. It was difficult to make the final cut. There were so many contenders, and the race for the worst film of 1986 was very close. Now, there's a good chance you didn't see many of the films that made it to my personal top 5. In fact, for some of these, I think I was the only person in America, perhaps the only in the galaxy, to see them.
Mirror, mirror, 17 fold. Who's the sexiest? Dressed in gold.
We begin with a tie for 5th place. Now, no list of the worst of 1986 would be complete without Under the Cherry Moon, in which the singer Prince played a poor musician in love with a rich girl. Cherry Moon, even in black and white, was the pits. Also in the number 5 position is American Anthem, the story of a gymnast played by Mitch Gaylord. The father broke his son's arm when he refused a football scholarship. Eventually, Dad forgives his boy by listening to the radio broadcast of the gymnastics tournament. That's the way radio really is, you know, broadcasting hours of gymnastic meets. Number 4 in the turkey sweepstakes, Firewalker, was a Romancing the Stone clone. It should have been renamed Temple of Dud. Imagine Chuck Norris, king of the kickboxers, star of Delta Force and Invasion USA, doing comedy. Imagine an elephant in a ballet. Next, the third worst, an estimated $50 million bomb, Howard the Duck, was about an advertising executive in another galaxy who suddenly finds himself outside a punk bar in Cleveland. The film about a duck was a downer, a turkey. In second place, Taipan starred Brian Brown as Dirk Struan, the founder of Hong Kong. And Brown was given lines like, "You're my slave, but I love you nonetheless." It featured Joan Chen as the slave girl who never buttoned her blouse. Finally, the good guy and the bad guy battled each other as the typhoon destroyed Hong Kong. Aye, there may never be another swashbuckler like this one, and for that we should pray in thanks. And the winner of the worst film of 1986, the ultimate turkey, is Shanghai Surprise. Madonna as a missionary, her husband Sean Penn as an American fortune hunter, both of them trying to find the opium treasure. The main surprise, that this one ever got into the theaters in the first place.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, let's consider those apologies, and maybe her next film will be better. There were so many others in the running for the worst movie. Club Paradise, in which Robin Williams managed not to be funny for 2 solid hours. Half Moon Street, in which Sigourney Weaver played a hooker with a Ph.D. in international relations. Heartburn, in which both Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep tried to be Jewish writers. And Hail Mary, in which the Virgin Mary was a gas station attendant. And tomorrow, the 5 best films of 1986, which will be a little easier list to come up with.
Were there really that many dogs?
Oh, yeah. I came up with a list. It was a full sheet of paper. There's about 30 of them.
And your list of the best is going to be about this long, right?
A little shorter, yeah.
All right. Speaking of the best, Norman, what possible link, you ask, could there be between Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev and rocker Bruce Springsteen? Well, according to the Fashion Foundation of America, they are among the world's 10 best-dressed men, joining the likes of President Reagan, Britain's Prince Andrew, and Ed McMahon. Meanwhile, disc jockey Tom Joyner wasn't on the list, but when would he find the time to buy clothes? You'll recall he flies to Dallas every morning to do the morning drive show for KKDA, and then flies back to Chicago, where he does an afternoon show for WGCI-FM. And now, with all of his available time, he has signed on to do a 3-hour network show that will air weekly on CBS Radio starting next month. And mystery fans tonight are mourning the passing of John McDonnell, the creator of the popular Travis McGee series that sold more than 30 million copies in America. He died in Milwaukee yesterday from complications that followed heart surgery. The 70-year-old who wrote nearly 80 books has left a gift for his fans. One final Travis McGee book finished several years ago, but to be printed only after his death.
And this just into the Channel 5 newsroom. Former British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan is dead at the age of 82. He died at his home near Sussex, England, following a short illness, or rather he was 92. He was Prime Minister between the years 1957 and 1963. Once again, former British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan dead at the age of 92. Up next in sports, Mark Giangreco is going to take us on a trip down south.
That is right, Art. The Bears camping out down in Swanee with our own happy camper, Warner Saunders.
That's right, here we are down in Swanee, Georgia, where Coach Mike Ditka refused to ruffle Doug Flutie's feathers.
Motrel, now my car ship's sweet. Motrel, at a price you can't beat. You better ship to Motor and ship for the better right now.
At Motor, we'll give your transmission a 23-point diagnostic checkup. No obligation. Why not check it now? You'll save down the road.
You better ship to Motor and ship for the better right now.
Shift to Motor Transmissions, right here.
What's new at Jewel this week? Great values to ring in the new year. Plan an extra special dinner with Jewel's USDA Choice Sirloin Steak, just $1.79 a pound. Bake up a batch of holiday treats with farm stand golden ripe bananas, only 25 cents a pound. And save on assorted varieties of Canfields, RC, 7-Up, Pepsi, or Coke. A 2-liter bottle is just 99 cents. For the very happiest new year,
take a new look at an old friend, Jewel.
Who does Mexican this well?
No one, no one, no one.
Where's the freshness, snap, and sizzle?
No one does Mexican, no one does Mexican.
No one's cooking like Pepe's.
Fajitas, tender slices of beef served up sizzling.
No one does Mexican quite.
Slap them on a tortilla, a little of this and that, that's fajitas.
No one does Mexican quite like Pepe's can. Number one, Joe Rizza Ford is number one.
You know it. Joe Rizza Ford, the nation's #1 Ford dealer, makes owning a Ford easier than ever. Buy before the year's end and take advantage of your last opportunity to get maximum tax deductions. For selection, service, and of course savings you just can't beat.
Joe Rizza Ford is number one.
Joe Rizza Ford, 2100 South Harlem in North Riverside.
In Michigan, home of the Wolverine, they've just picked the symbol of that state's sesquicentennial celebration. It's the black bear. The Sesquicentennial Committee said it was all set to settle on the Wolverine. The only problem is there is absolutely no evidence that Wolverines ever existed in that state.
At the beginning of this newscast, we showed you all the foggy pictures coming out of Atlanta, which includes Swanee, Georgia. But Mark Giangreco is here to bring us some clear pictures out of there.
Even if it was still foggy down there today, it's better than the frozen tundra of Lake Forest, I think. Art, for the third straight year, the Bears have returned to their playoff home away from home as guests of the Atlanta Falcons down in Swanee, Georgia. Once again, they've created that training camp atmosphere for their second season. Warner Saunders standing by live at Swanee right now to update us on day one. Warner?
Day one was a wonderful day. We landed in the fog, but the sunshine soon came out. Coach Mike Ditka was very, very happy about today's practice. He said that the guys did everything that he asked them to do. As a matter of fact, he couldn't yell at anyone, especially the little guy, Doug Flutie.
Well, it's just like hollering at Bambi. It makes you a little I get letters from school teachers all over America telling me that I'm not allowed to do that, so I probably won't do it anymore. I'm going to adhere to that, too.
You got letters?
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of letters. A lot of letters. Got one from Dexter Manley. He told me not to yell at anybody.
Mike Ditka said that Dexter Manley called him up and said, don't yell at any of the Bear ball players. Of course, this is Dave Durson, just the best safety in the game itself. Now, what are they going to be doing to you, man?
Well, in their two tight end scheme, what they like to do is stretch out the tight end outside of one of the wide receivers, which means I'll have to go out and line up on him. So basically, they're spreading the running lanes as wide as possible and taking away as many tacklers as possible so they can give George Rogers some room to run.
Everybody says it's a good deal to play Washington, but it's still an NFL team. You guys have played them. You've beaten them twice in the last 2 years. However, that kind of gets them a little bit angry under the collar.
Well, definitely. In fact, I would think that the edge would swing to them as far as the emotional factor. But having the game in Chicago is going to mean a great deal to us, as well as it being the first game of the playoffs. And this is sudden death. You know, you lose and you're out. So we're going to lay everything on the line, as Washington will. They're going to come up with some new wrinkle. We're not sure what that's going to be, but they always come up with something to try and surprise the defense every week.
There's a different feel about you this year. There's a professionalism that's a lot different in Dave Durson than it was in years past. I mean, it's like you've just matured, man. You've just become that.
Well, I think it's from being in the league now for my fourth year and understanding the game a lot better. And I think just overall confidence in myself. But, you know, when I'm surrounded with the 10 guys that I play with on defense, it allows me to relax, you know, because I've got such great compliments around the field.
And relaxed you are. Thank you very much for being with us. And by the way, congratulations on being selected to the AP All-Pro team. You deserve it. Dave Durson, back to you, Mark.
All right, Warner, thanks. Of course, they don't know what they're talking about when they only name this guy second team, you know?
That's
Isn't
right.
that crazy? We'll see you at 6 o'clock. All right, elsewhere, the inevitable came today for Tampa Bay head coach Lehman Bennett. Bennett was finally fired as speculation continues to swirl around Alabama's Ray Perkins as his successor. Back to those Redskins, you know, they really think that Jay Schrader can beat the Bears through the air like he did here, hooking up with Kelvin Bryant against the Rams. But those key injuries on the offensive line spell big trouble for Washington. We'll deal with that at 6. We'll talk with head coach Joe Gibbs. On the AFC side, you got to believe the Jets coach Joe Walton's going to stick with quarterback Pat Ryan for the playoff showdown with Cleveland. Ryan reviving his crash-landed club is obviously a fresh alternative to the rattled Ken O'Brien. Back here at home, a big upset in the Proviso West Holiday High School basketball tournament. Collins surprises defending state champ King. Emmett Lynch walks it up and then feeds the great Marcus Liberty on the alley-oop. Liberty with 32, but it wasn't enough. Collins took charge late. Mike McDaniels feeds Gerald Rowan. He goes baseline for the little jumper. And then at the other end, off the rejection, Rowan's going to get it out to big Bruce Faulkner. Look at this guy. It's the fridge in sneakers, folks. As Collins beats King 74-71. Now, the Bulls will be hosting Golden State tomorrow night. We'll have more on that at 6 as well. Pretty good Sunday, though, for the Hawks and the Sting. Eric Geyer got his second win as Chicago head coach against Los Angeles. And the Blackhawks stunned Washington in the last 3 minutes last night, beating the Caps 7-5. Dennis Savard with a goal and 3 assists, coupled with his great night against St. Louis. Savard today named NHL Player of the Week, otherwise known as the Wayne Gretzky Award. I mean, you know, it's big news when somebody else besides Gretzky wins Player of the Week.
It's true. I think Ditka's line is the best I've heard.
About
yelling at Flutie
Bambi.
is like yelling at Bambi.
You know, you think that the guy's got a full-time writer, I'm sure. You know, he's red hot with
His
the
writing's been better this year, it's true.
Not bad. He's good.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. For a preview of the NBC Nightly News, here's Garrick Utley in New York.
Thanks, Art and Carol. Tonight on NBC Nightly News, an important question. Will soaring student loan debt cripple the next generation of college graduates? Then at 6 on Channel 5 News, Washington and Thomas Hines go head-to-head over plans for a new Bear Stadium. Join Carol Marine at 6 on 5.
Thank you, Garrick. Also coming up at 6, the story of a blind girl from Turkey and a generous Chicago man who is fighting to give her the gift of life. Or sight, really. The business reporter Daryl David shows us why people are spending big bucks this last week of the year. That and more when you join us at 6 o'clock.
And when we return, John Coleman will look ahead to our next holiday weekend in his 5-day forecast. Don't go away.
Share the vision. Fidelity Investments.
This week at Dominic's, the savings are purely American on domestic sliced boiled ham, perfect for an appetizer plate. In our deli, just $1.98 a pound. Enjoy a mountain of savings on Hills Brothers coffee, electric, regular, and automatic drip. A 2-pound can, just $4.99 at Dominic's. And get spicy savings on easy-to-bake Tombstone pizza. Choose cheese, pepperoni, or cheese and sausage, just $2.99 each. Happy New Year from Dominic's.
Westside AMC Jeep Renault, Illinois' #1 volume dealer, is doubling your ways to save on taxes during their year-end tax savings sale. 1. Take delivery on any new Jeep in stock, and Westside Jeep Renault will pay your sales tax up to $2,000. 2. Every Jeep purchase qualifies for a 100% sales tax deduction off this year's income tax. Plus, get a snowblower with any new Jeep delivery during the year-end tax savings sale at Westside Jeep Renault, Illinois' largest, on Grand Avenue in Elmhurst.
There is an eye that doesn't rest, the eye of Fidelity, and the vision of Fidelity's Magellan Fund, colossus that towers over the investment world. Over 600,000 of your neighbors put their trust in Fidelity Magellan and prospered with the decade's top-performing equity fund. From discount brokerage through mutual funds. Share the vision. Fidelity Investments.
Okay, New Year's fun seekers, here's John Coleman with a 5-day forecast.
No big storm, apparently, for New Year's Eve this year, Carol. A little flurry today produced a touch of whiteness on the ground, but it's almost over. It is still snowing at Peoria and in the Milwaukee area, and in Chicago there's a little drizzle falling now, and a few spots that's slightly icy and mixed with snowflakes. But it's only the tail end of a very weak storm, and it'll be gone by tomorrow morning, though a few icy spots could remain. It'll be very foggy late tonight and tomorrow morning again.